Hare Krishna. Okay, so chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga, Yoga of the Supreme Person. So what happened in chapter 14? What did Lord Krishna do, tell Arjuna? He enlightened Arjuna. He said, if you can transcend these three modes of nature, the three gunas, you will be able to achieve the divine goal. What is your goal? Go back to your permanent abode or Golokadham. So he's also declaring that if you are exclusively, you are into devotion, you are engaging yourself in those devotion, that is the best thing to do. Yeah, so that you can go beyond these three gunas. So you engage directly to me, attach yourself to me, then I am above these three modes. So naturally, then if you are attached to me, I will take you there. And he says that such devotion should be practiced. How to practice that? Detach your mind. From where? From the worldly pursuits. Attach where? Towards Krishna. That's what Lord Krishna told in last chapter. In this chapter, Krishna has spoken all the 20 shlokas and he is explained. It's a small chapter, but very, very important and quite deep. So he is explaining the material world very graphically, graphically he will tell Arjuna, because so that Arjuna can understand the nature of this whole material world and try to develop detachment from it. So Lord Krishna is going to speak about trying to move out from this material world and go back to Godhead, go back to the spiritual world. And he is going to tell that we have to do that by detachment and surrender. And Lord Krishna is also going to tell what Lord Krishna's position is, how he is the supreme controller, how he is the maintainer of the world. Then he is going to talk about Vedanta and Vedas. He is a Vedakrit and a Vedavit also. And we will also see the essence of knowing Krishna so that we can seek his shelter. So let's start. Those who are interested in reading the translation, please raise your hand so that you can read continuously. If you raise your hand, just you get to read it. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Urdhva Moola Madhashakam Ashwatam Prahuravyayam Chamdamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. Hare Krishna. Yes, Maitra Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its root upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Veda.
Hare Krishna. So what is Lord Krishna here comparing? He's comparing the material world to what? To an upside down Ashwatha tree. Ashwatha tree is like a sacred fig tree. He's comparing that to Ashwatha tree. So what is happening is, the entanglement of this material world, how is it compared to Ashwatha tree? Urdhva Moola. Urdhva Moola means what? The roots of the tree. The Moola. Moola means the root. The root of the tree is where? Growing upwards. Can you imagine? The roots going up. You can you see that? So the roots are growing up, and Urdhva Moola means growing up. And Madha Shakham. Shakha means the branches. So Madha Shakha means branches are going down. Ashwatha means the tree, Ashwatha tree. The branches of the Ashwatha tree are going down. The roots are going up. And the twigs, the branches, the twigs, they are the objects of the senses. The senses goes over there, those objects, right? So the twigs are the objects of the senses. The roots are growing up and the branches are growing down and the twigs are the objects of senses. Imagine. This is the tree of material world. What is the tree of material world? It's like a reflection, as you can see in the picture. Actually, the tree of material world is a reflection of the real tree. Real tree is in the spiritual world, right? The tree is in the spiritual world. The reflection is the roots are going up, the branches are going down, the twigs are object of senses. So just as a tree's reflection is situated on water, material reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire. Whatever desires we have, no one knows where it begins, where it ends. No one knows. This reflected tree, what happens? This is irrigated. We have to water the tree, right? So it is nourished by what? The three modes of material nature. So the three modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole tree is nourished by that. The moment we go beyond that, then only we can reach the spiritual world. You can see that. So the world is full of look-alike. You can see in the picture, we have a Gucci over there. If you see the sign, both one is authentic, one is fake. So everything in this world nowadays has duplicate. So we end up, what happens? We end up with the fake Gucci while looking for the authentic one, right? So we have to understand this material world, it's duplicate. Let's go to the real world, the spiritual world, right? Let's see that. How does the root of this banyan tree grow?
Upwards.
Upwards. Very good, very good. Twigs of this banyan tree are considered to be?
Different modes
Different
of
modes of
nature.
nature.
Modes of nature.
Twigs.
The sense
Sense
object.
objects.
Sense objects. Yes, correct. They are the objects of senses. Yes. This is the tree, you can see. And Krishna has used the metaphor of upside down Ashwatha tree. You can see that. On the top, Ashwatha tree can be considered, if you see the picture carefully, it is considered to have roots in divine Brahma. You can see the Brahma sitting over there. And the trunk is growing down. And many, many branches are all spread out. And on the branches of these mysterious trees, you can see all these embodied souls are moving around. We are all moving lifetime after lifetime. These leaves, you can see on the leaf, it is written Vedic hymns, right? On the leaves, they are Vedic mantras over there. So leaves are Vedic mantras. The twigs are object of senses. The branches, the souls are moving on the branches. The root is up. Brahma is stationed there. And the branches are moving down. You can see all this. We can cross this tree through our consciousness. There is a sea of desire. You can see that. If we cross that, we can go to the spiritual world. So we have to cross through our consciousness. We have to go upwards. We are down. We have to move upwards through the branches, so that through the trunk, branches, so that we can reach the root. Once we go to the root, Brahmaji, then cross the river of desire. You see what is there beyond that? Who is standing over there waiting for us? Radha Krishna, they are waiting for us. So if we want to disentangle ourselves from this tree, we want to get away from this, we must cut it. Now, how to cut this tree? We have to cut it. It's very strong, these branches, very strong. So cut it down with determination. And also another weapon is there. We have a weapon of detachment also. If both the D's can be used, D square. What are the two D squares? Detachment and determination. If we can have this, then we can, three, I would say, this detachment, determination, desire also we need to, cross. The moment we cross all these three, then we reach and seek the shelter of Supreme Lord. So with determination and the weapon of detachment, we can reach the shelter of Supreme Lord. So the tree of this material land, nobody knows. The end, the beginning, nobody knows. And for one who is attached to this tree very strongly, forget about liberation. There is no liberation for them. So the tree's roots, they are growing up because they begin from where Brahma is situated. He is located over there. You can see on the topmost, he's sitting over there. The topmost planet of the universe, that's where Brahma is. If we can understand, if person understands that this indestructible tree of illusion, this is Maya, tree of illusion, then only we can get out of it. So Ashwatha tree, or you can call it tree of knowledge, is also, it's a metaphor that has been used for our search for the divine. We have to use this and search for the divine, try to search where the divine Lord is. So that's what Ashwatha tree has been given as metaphor. What is compared as the leaves of the banyan tree?
Vedic hymns.
Vedic hymns.
Very nice, correct. Let's see. With dash, should one cut off this tree with the weapon of dash?
Determination and detachment.
These words. Correct. Very good. Okay. Adashtortvam prasata tasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravala adashtamulanyanu karmanubandhini manushya Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Again, this description of the Ashwatha tree is being explained over here in this. Krishna is trying to give us a lot of examples and metaphors so that we at least something will go into our mind, something will go into our head. So that he says the branches are spread all over the directions, all directions the branches are spread. Lower part of the branch, who is there? All of us, like human beings, animals, horses, cows, all the beasts. They are situated on the lower branch of the tree, and upper part, higher forms of entities like devatas, gandharvas, and higher species, of life. They are on the higher part of the branches, and on the topmost is Lord Brahma. So as we water the tree, right? Or any tree, you will water it, right? You have to nourish it with water. Similarly, this special material tree, it is nourished by three modes of material nature. What are the three modes of material nature? Modes of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna. From where does this get its nourishment from?
From the three modes of material nature.
Yes, very good, Maitra Mataji. Correct. Yes, Maitra Mataji, please read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek that place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything has begun, and in whom everything is abiding since time immemorial. Hare Krishna.
न रूपमस्ये तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा. Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains in his purport. He says it's very clearly stated, that the real form of this Ashwatha tree, it cannot be understood in this material. We cannot understand. We don't have that kind of capacity to understand. When entangled in this material expansion of the tree, what happens? We cannot see. We don't know how far the tree is going down, how far it is going. We don't know where it is spreading towards. No one can see the beginning of this tree, right? So it has no end. Nanto na chadin, nanto na anto. There is no anta because it is unlimited. It has no beginning as well because it has no beginning. It has no foundation or support also. Some pratishtha. There is no foundation. There is no support. No one knows about this. We cannot understand what it is because we don't have that real knowledge also. So what is the knowledge that we need? We have to have the knowledge, right? So what is that knowledge? It is to ask our own selves how to free ourselves from this reflection, right? So the knowledge we have to understand is, we have to understand what our correct place is. Where are we? What does it mean? It means that we should just, it's like, as every time I say, it's like living in a hotel. If we are living in a hotel, it's a very temporary place to live. We have to go back to our home. The hotel, you cannot live forever. You have to go back home, back to Godhead. So in order to do that, first thing, we have to forget, we have to start giving up. I am the control. We have to give up this lordship, ownership over this material nature. This is mine. These are my positions. These are my people. These are my relatives. Stop thinking like that, that we own everything over here. That we have to understand. That is the understanding we need to get. If we understand that, we get this knowledge of detachment, and with that weapon, we cut down the tree, which is the only reason why we are suffering over here, because of so much of attachment to things and people. So once we cut it down with that kind of detachment and with determination, then what will happen is we will find what is at the base of the root. Supreme Personality of Lord is waiting on the other side. He is the original root from where everything has emanated, everything has come out of him. In order to please Lord Krishna, to gain his favor, we have to surrender, and we have to do all kinds of devotional service, all Navavidha Bhakti, right? Otherwise, what will happen is, there are two ways. One is, you can see in the screen, choose a way. One is my way and another one is God's way. So we have to choose it. God's way is the next exit. We can just exit and reach God. But if we say my way, no, I have to go my way, then there is no exit from this cycle of birth and death. It continues. My way never ends. God's way ends. Next exit is God's way, as you can see. Hare Krishna. This is the Lord Krishna's. You can decide where you want to be. The left side is spiritual world, eternal bliss, freedom from birth and death. The right side is material world, repeated birth and death and misery. So Lord Krishna describes from 15.6 to 15.11 as to how illuminated his abode is, his spiritual world. He says, my abode, you know what? It's so beautiful. It is so illuminating. It is very nice. Come back to the original home. You did something wrong. You went to the prison. Okay, fine. Now think of me. Come back, you know. That's a very temporary place. That's like a hotel stay. You may have to pay the bills also and so much of misery, no comfort level as such. Come over here. A lot of comfort is there. Come on. So it's our choice whether we want to go to the material world or spiritual world. Lord Krishna says, Na tad bhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramam mama. Yes, Aishwarya Mati.
That adobe of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's go to spiritual world. Lord Krishna is describing his abode. He says it's self-illuminated, it's self-luminous. No sun, no moon, no electricity, no fire is required over there to light up. You know, in this world, we need electricity. We have to pay electricity bill. AC mat chalo, the bill will be more at the end of the month. So you have so many, you know, things to think of. Sun, we need sun, we need moon, we need fire, we need electricity, we need so many things, right? This material world full of defects, full of dualities, happiness, sorrow, misery, everything is there. If you go to that divine realm, spiritual world, Krishna's world, it is created with yoga maya. This is material energy, that is spiritual energy, and it is completely perfect and transcendental. So it is also called Sat Chit Ananda, full of bliss, full of knowledge, full of eternality, right? So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, come on, I am telling the souls who have attained, who to reside with me, come to my supreme abode. It's very nice, it's very perfect. You don't have to pay any bills, everything is free, you know, and you will be free from this cycle of birth and death. No need to say, oh, I have to die. We know our manufacturing date, we don't know our end date, expiry date. You don't have to bother about that also now. You know you are going to live there forever, eternally in complete bliss and knowledge. So it's like, you know, like I always say, it's like a fairy tale, right? They lived happily ever after. That will be the state if we go to the spiritual world, right? Which does not happen over here. We cannot ever say that, oh, they lived happily ever after. No, that's wrong. It's just illusion. Nobody lives a happily ever after. They have to die one day. But that's possible if we go to the spiritual abode, because that's the permanent place, permanent settlement. Yes. What is enjoyed by a living entity after reaching the abode of Sri Krishna?
All of the above.
All of the above. Very nice, Radhika Mataji. This is Krishna's abode. That abode of mine is not illumined by sun or moon or by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. You can see how beautiful this is. Don't you want to go there? How many want to go there?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Radhika Mataji. Yeah, we should. Yeah. In Goloka Vrindavan, all the planets are
Self-illuminated.
self-luminous. Very nice. So let's go there. Mame vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Yes, Sonali Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to the conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So these living entities means we only, we human beings, and even the cats, dogs, beasts, everyone, of course. And even the devatas, including Brahma, all the devatas, all are part and parcels. We are all sparks of the Supreme Lord. As you can see in the picture, you can see a big fire and there are small, small sparks coming out. We are those sparks. We are all eternal as such. We are part and parcel. Lord Krishna is saying, you are my part and parcel. Mame vamsho, mame ansho. You are my ansha only. And karshati, you are struggling. You are struggling so hard over here. You are grappling so hard over here. You are karshati. You are tied up over here. Oh my God, you are conditioned souls. You are bound up. You are shackled by these iron chains over here. What are you doing? You're bound up by your own false ego. You know, the mind is the main culprit over here. It's the main chief agent over here. It is driving all this material existence. Aise hi karna hai, aise hi karna. I'm not going to talk to him. This ego is something that comes in between. So when the mind is in the mode of goodness, we do good things. When it is in the mode of passion, then become very anxious and the mind becomes very troublesome. Activities are very, hanky-panky, it becomes very troublesome. And then when it is in the mode of ignorance, we completely go down to that lower species of life, right? So that kind of mode we get into, very angry, full of jealousy and all that. So in the previous verse, what Lord Krishna said, he said, whoever is perfected souls, they will find, and who find him, they come to the spiritual world. They don't have to return back to this material world. You come to my spiritual world. In this verse, what he says, he's saying those who remain in this material world also, they are my amsha only. So he's giving us some kind of hope, right? You're my part and parcel. Aja mere bachche. So we have to wake up to this reality. We have to identify what is it, what is our real identity. And we are part and parcel of the Lord. This life will become completely, we will be completely in kind of serenity and blissful. So we have to just take one nice conscious decision that I belong to Krishna, right? If we say I belong to Krishna, he is my aham bija pradav pita, he is my eternal father. All this is just a drama going on here. So we'll get out of it. In the next verse, Lord explains what happens when the soul is moving, from one body to another after death. So what happens to his mind and senses? This is the question he's going to tell us. Yes. Sharir yadavapnoti yachapkrutya kramati ishvaraha grihit vaitani sanyati vayurgandhani vashayat. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another. As the air carries aromas, thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. What example Lord Krishna has given is here of the breeze. He says how air carries aromas. So he has used the example of everywhere. Lord Krishna is using the examples. We don't have to put in our own from this material world. Lord Krishna says the example of breeze to explain the process of transmigration of the soul from one body to another. How he's saying how this air carries its fragrances of the flowers. Similarly, upon the death of the body, the soul will carry with it. What does it carry? It carries with it the subtle and the causal bodies. What are those? The senses and the mind. Along with the soul, they go. So even when the body dies, soul will continue to carry the mind along with the experiences of what all we had in the past lifetimes, from its former body to the new one. Every time the whole experience, everything moves on. That is why sometimes you may feel, oh, I find this person very familiar, or I find this place very familiar. Oh, I think I remember. Sometimes many people have this. It is because of that, because the experiences of the past lifetimes goes on with the soul, whereas the body remains over here. And Lord has explained this by giving the example of the breeze or the air. How when air is blowing, it goes along, the fragrance of flowers also goes along with it. Aroma goes along with it. Similarly, when the soul leaves the body, it goes along with the mind, senses, experiences of the past. Who is not affected by either by the creation or the destruction of the material world.
One who develops
Spiritual
spiritual quality.
Yes, yes, very good. Yes, Maitra Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, and nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Hare Krishna. So, if we impure our consciousness, like we go down to the lower species like cats and dogs, just eating, sleeping, mating, defending, only these things we are doing. If we are behaving like them, in the next life we'll get that life only. We'll get that body, and we will be enjoying in that body only, right? Because originally our consciousness, our soul is very pure. It's like water, very pure. But if you put some color, if you put red color in the water, it turns red. If you put blue color in the water, it turns blue. So if we mix the water with a certain color, it will change naturally. Similarly, consciousness basically is pure. Spirit soul is pure. But when we put it in a dirty place, we pollute our mind, we go and do something in the association of people or association of material qualities, the consciousness changes, it pollutes. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. That's it. There is no other consciousness. So whoever is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is leading a pure life. But if consciousness gets polluted or adulterated in some kind of material mentality, we can say, in next life he is going to get similar kind of body. Need not be a human body, okay? Because he can get a body of any beast, any cat, dog, hog, whatever, camel, devata, many other. There's 84 lakh species. You can get any form out of that, right? So it material. If you are living in this material world, change is inevitable. Now the thing that we need to understand is, are we changing for the better, or are we changing to go down, falling down? This is the question we need to keep asking ourselves. We have to go within, deep within, and ask ourselves, right? So there is this one story about Tulsidas, who let those who realize that mind and the sense, they are the cause of all this material bondage. And the only way to break free is, attach ourselves to Krishna and detach ourselves from this material world and progress towards devotion. We will understand from this that as Tulsidas, he was a very young boy. He was very much in love with his wife. So once she went for a few days to her parents' place. There, when she went, she went just to a nearby village. It was across the stream only, a river. And he was madly in love with her. He couldn't stay without her. He was thinking, he was very restless. It was night time. He said, oh, let me go and meet her. But it was raining cats and dogs. It was raining very heavily. It was like a storm, and there was no boatman available to make him willing to take him across the stream. And then he saw something is floating nearby. It was so dark, he couldn't see anything. He said, okay, it's like a log. Let me hold on to it, swim through the stream and go across. He did that. And then after leaving that, he said, if I go through the front door, what will the parents think? They'll say, kya joru ka gulam aa gaya piche piche. No. He saw above, he knew which one is his wife's room. He saw the light was on. There was a window over there. Okay. Now how to go up the window? He was thinking, let me just call out to her. He said, no, I will be disturbing everybody. But he immediately saw there was some rope hanging down. He said, let me just get hold of that rope and go up to the window. He went into the room. She was surprised, shocked actually to see him. So why did you come over here? How did you manage to come? It's a stormy night, it's a terrible weather. What are you doing here? He said, you know what? I came through that window and across using that log. So they both looked down the window. Lo and behold, it was not a rope. It was a snake. And what he was assuming it to be a log was a dead body, floating dead body. His desire for his wife was so intense that it blinded his mind. He didn't even see what was happening. She was just completely furious. angry. She said to him, you desire me? This is just a body of flesh and blood and all pus inside. If you would have had the same kind of intense desire for the Lord, do you know, you would have attained him by now. You would have been freed from the cycle of birth and death. Those words were life-changing words, and it had life-changing effect on him. He immediately left. He renounced householder's life. He took up devotion. He detached himself from all the material pleasures, engaged his mind towards God, and went on to become a great saint and poet. Right? So we know he later wrote that as a lustful man desires a beautiful woman, and as a greedy person desires a lot of wealth, may my mind and senses constantly desire Lord Ram. That's what he said. What must one do to get out of the entanglement of this strong banyan tree?
Surrender to Krishna.
Surrender to Krishna. Yes. Yes, please. Reina Mataji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vimudhananu pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Trained in knowledge. Eyes trained in knowledge means jnana chakshu. Jnana chakshu means what? Without knowledge, we will not be able to understand how the living entity leaves this body, what form of body he is going to get in next life, why is he living in this particular type of body. We won't have that unless and until we have that, we develop that spiritual knowledge, jnana chakshu. Unless and until we have that jnana chakshu, we will not be able to see that the soul is different from the body and is changing its body. The soul is changing body and it is enjoying in different forms of body, right? Ignorant person is like this. You can see this newbie car mechanic, as you can see in the picture. What is he trying to do? He's trying to figure out, car chalti kaise? How does this move? What is happening? He's new. He's a new mechanic. So he's looking, okay, so this is called new movement of the wheels. He's tracing it back. Okay, this wheel is moving means he's tracing it back to the accelerator. Okay, if you press the accelerator, it is going to move. Then there is a steering wheel where you can move it for the direction. Oh, okay, this is the ignition switch. So he's concluding, very good, I know now. All these parts makes the car move. I have understood. Wheels will move because of the accelerator and the direction will be moved by the steering wheel and you turn on the ignition. It's fine, done. But he has missed the most important part. Who is going to start the ignition? And who is going to hold the steering wheel and move it? So unless and until there is a driver who can operate a car, it would not move. So only someone who has acquired that kind of spiritual knowledge will understand that it is the soul that is giving the life to the body. Without the soul, body is lifeless. When a person is dying, his material parts, like, all kinds of the part like heart, kidney, liver, stomach, all these lungs, they're all there, but it will not function because the soul has left the body. So consciousness is the indication of life. It shows that the soul is present in the body. Soul departs, consciousness ends. So only those who have got jnana chakshu, the eyes of knowledge, they will understand this phenomena. No one else, says Lord Krishna. Yes, please, Sonali Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The enduring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Lord Krishna is very nicely explaining. He said, just getting that knowledge is not enough, okay? He says, it must also be put in the right direction also. You have got the knowledge, but if after getting that knowledge, you should know which direction you need to go. The common mistake that we people do is, we tend to use our material senses. Humko lagta hai we know a lot. we will be able to understand God with our material senses. We think like that. We want to decide what is correct, what is the fault in it. And this knowledge, I don't think is right. We use our intellect to tell. We will only judge everything. Our intellect is worldly, it is material. It has no experience of the divine. Whatever we cannot see by our mind and senses, we say that does not exist. I don't think it exists. This is the natural tendency of our mind, you know. We will reject the things that will not fit into the frame of our beliefs, whatever scientific, philosophical beliefs of the time. It is not fitting in this frame, it is not existing. It's even similar. Scientists also are doing the same thing. You know, they will also say the same thing. It cannot be explained by the current theory, it does not exist. That is, even telepathy, as they say, scientists have not yet, they look upon as its illusion. So Srila Prabhupada in many of his lectures has mentioned this thinking as Dr. Frog philosopher thinking. It is like Kupa. Kupa means the frog. Kupa Manduka Nyaya means the logic of the well frog. What does it mean? Lord Srila Prabhupada explains. He says it's like a frog which has been living within that walls of the well. It is thinking that is the whole world. He doesn't even know that there is a world existing outside the well. So once it was, somebody told the frog, you know what? The ocean outside, it's huge. The well frog said, is it really? First of all, he doesn't believe. Even if it is there, he said, okay, maybe 5 times bigger than this well. So no. It's much, much bigger than this. You don't know. It's gigantic. Okay. I think you are lying. First of all, I don't believe you. Then I think even if you're saying that you are a liar, nothing can be, how can a place be such bigger than, you know, my well? No. So the well frog, we can't say anything. It's been living in there in that well only the whole life. It has not seen anything beyond the walls of the well. So its mind is very much within that well. It is not able to comprehend the idea of that vast ocean or the world that is existing outside that well. We also, similarly, we people, scientists, all the materialistic people, we cannot understand this. There is an idea of eternal soul is existing. We have that limited experience, limited knowledge. We lack spiritual knowledge. We are not able to perceive that there is a, you know, spiritual universe also existing beyond this. So it's beyond our intellect, beyond our understanding. So only those who have taken the path of spirituality, they are purifying their heart with this humility, surrender mode, devotional service. And when their mind is cleansed, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, naturally it experiences the presence of the soul. The moment you purify your mind, you should try and see. Then the knowledge of these scriptures will become clear. So the best path is to be submissive devotee of the Lord and surrender, hear about the Lord, hear from the bona fide spiritual master, and then serve the Lord also, right? So we need to understand that. So what Lord Krishna tells is how to recognize existence of God. Let's see that. Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharayamya Mojasa Pushnami Chaushadi Sarvaha Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha. Yes, Aishwarya.
I entered into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
So what Lord Krishna is trying to explain is, he has created this universe. Gama Vishyatu Bhutani. Gama itself means planets, and Ojasa means the energy. So by his energy only he has created, he's telling us, by my energy I have created this earth. We always talk about things happening in this whole world, how this whole earth is habitable, how we are able to live. We have inhabited this earth. We cannot do it. Somebody has done. Even the river water is different from ocean water. Ocean water is so salty. Why is it so salty? God could have made it sweet water. Ocean water could have been full of fresh water, but no, it has been made salty. Why? Because otherwise, if it is fresh water, it would become a breeding ground for all sorts of diseases also. High salt content is making many disease causing organisms not to survive over there in that. So it is protecting the life which is living, who are living there. Same, so many amazing phenomena is happening on this earth. We have no explanation. We don't even know. That is making us live on this earth. One of the scientists actually said, if the physical properties of this earth, of our universe, was any different from what it is right now, right today, it would have been impossible to live on this earth also. Like the scientists say, we cannot live on the other planets. How are they saying? Because we have not been made with that material. We have been made with these materials. So we can live, we are habited to live on this earth only. So Lord Krishna is saying that, this, he is, the moonlight gets its nourishing energy from him. He is giving the nourishing properties to the moon. And the moon is nourishing the plant life, he says. So Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport, we are living very comfortably because Lord is giving us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to survive on this earth at all. And he says the word Rasatmaka, saying that everything has become so delicious because of the moon, which is getting its energy from Lord Krishna. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pacham Annam Chaturvidham. Yes, Sonali Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
Four
Hare
kinds
Krishna.
of foodstuff. So what Lord Krishna is telling is that Lord is in everyone, right? And God exists in all the living entities. He says as Vaishwanara, Aham, I. Vaishwanara means the fire of digestion. I am in every living entity as power of digestion, fire of digestion. And it is only ignited by the Lord's power, Lord's energy. So when we talk to scientists and all, if you ask them, what are they going to say? We have digestive organs, okay? We have a digestive system. We learn in biology also. We have digestive system, the stomach, and then you have, pancreas, you have liver, you have large intestines, you have small intestines, gallbladder. These are all secreting juices. And these digestive juices, they enable us to, digest our food, blah, blah, blah. All these things they are saying. But what is Lord telling in Bhagavadgita? Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. The Lord has revealed over here. Whatever we are trying, scientists and biologists are telling is just an immature way of thinking. Because it's the God's energy which is firing up the digestive process in the living beings. But of course, with our material senses, we don't have Jnana Chakshu, we will not believe. After reading last few verses, we have understood Lord Krishna is supporting every aspect of life. And with his energy, he is making the whole earth habitable. He is nourishing all the vegetation by giving energy to the moon, and he even igniting the gastric juices, gastric fire inside us so that we can digest our food. Now here it is written Pacham Annam Chaturvidham. Chaturvidham means four types. Annam means the food. So food has been categorized in four ways. What is that? One is bhojya, which can be chewed like chapati. Pay means liquid, which we drink. And then one is koshya, which means like we can suck like a sugar cane, we suck sugar cane like, and lehya means which can be like licked, like honey and all that. So there are chaturvedam, four ways it says. Supreme Personality of Godhead is the digestive force for how many kinds of foodstuff?
D. Four.
Yes. Correct. So we will, because this is very important, I have put it again. He is the Lord is the splendor of sun. Lord maintains the planets. He supplies the juice of life to all vegetables. He is the fire of digestion, and he is the one who digests foodstuff by outgoing and incoming air. The fire in the stomach is the dash of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Digestion.
Representative.
Representative.
Fire in the stomach is the representative of God. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaishta sarvairameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance. knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, am I to be known? Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Hare Krishna.
So what Lord Krishna is telling in this, he says he is in everyone's heart. As you can see on the screen, Lord is sitting as Supreme Soul in everyone's heart. And he goes on to add that he has given us this amazing ability of memory and knowledge. Mind, intellect, they can be compared like a software part. And brain is the hardware, right? And the mind and the intellect are software. You can't see them also, right? Yet this mechanism of this whole brain thing, we can't understand. It's beyond our understanding. So Lord Krishna is telling us that the power, he is giving us the power to forget the past also. Imagine if we wouldn't have forgotten the past, what would have happened? Whatever happened, good, bad would have been miserable. You would have gone, we would go into depression only if we keep remembering the past. So he's given us the power to forget the past. So like when we are working on the computer, whenever we are having the files which I don't want, what do? I just unwanted files and we delete it from the computer. So unwanted memories, we wipe it off from the memory. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be so much of information in our mind. It will become information overload, and then it will blast like anything. So other than this, whatever knowledge we are carrying inside our mind, there is another source of knowledge outside. What is that? It is there outside. What is there? It is in form of scriptures. That is what we learn from scriptures. So whatever little knowledge we have, other than that, we have a knowledge which we get from scripture. So in this verse, what Lord is saying is, he is the creator. He is the knower. He is the writer of the Vedas. Lord Krishna very clearly is mentioning in this shloka that he is the author of Vedanta Krit. Vedanta Krit, Veda Videva Chaham. Vedanta Krit means author of Vedas. And Vedanta Vid, knower of Vedas. He is the knower of the meaning of the Vedas. So Lord Krishna says Vedas tell us a lot about both this material world. It's going to tell us about the spiritual world. Everything is there in the Vedas. Because the final objective of understanding and knowing all this knowledge is to understand God. The whole purpose of all the rituals, the ceremony, jo puja hum log ghar mein karte hain, why do we do that? This is all done so that we can go little bit towards God and away from this material world. Whenever there is puja, we will cook sattvic food. We are in that mode of goodness. So at least that's a little step that we take to get away from this materialistic world, materialistic mindset, and move towards God, right? Whenever we have religious ceremonies, we have that kind of mode in the house. Everything is decorated very nicely. God is the center. We need to decorate God. Agarbatti jalao, deep jalao. And we are doing shlokas, recitation. Panditji is doing shlokas, and everything. So many things are happening, and sattvic food is served, and it is offered to God first, and then only we eat. That is the step. That's just an intermediate step. We need to have that every day in our mind. So takeaway is forgetfulness. That's also Lord's grace. It saves us from so many miseries, right? When we do something for others, we want the credit for everything. But when somebody else does for us, others do for us, it's their duty. They are supposed to do it for us. Aren't they responsible? And Lord, you can see in this material world, He's providing us with so many air, wind, water, everything. He's giving us so much. And what is He expecting from us? Only one thing. What is that? Just love.
Love and
Unconditional love. He just wants our love. And what is He doing? He's not trying to ask us for anything. Ye de do, wo de do. He's just giving us, only giving us, right? The only thing He's saying is, let's see what He talks about in the next shloka. He talks about two classes of people. Let's see. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
Continue, please.
Besides the two, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord Himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them. Hare Krishna.
So where two classes of being, one is fallible and one is infallible. So Lord Krishna has said fallible means akshara, akshara. Akshara means perishable. We are all. Soul is eternal. Soul is not perishable. But in the material realm, what happens is we are bound by the Maya, right? So individual soul is bound by this Maya in this body. From whether you call about a mosquito, insect, grasshopper, devatas, all are perishable. We have to go through this repetitive cycle of birth and death till we go to reach God. Whereas Lord Krishna speaks of God, the supreme, the divine personality of Godhead, the Paramatma, the super soul. It is imperishable, right? He is divine. While individual soul is very tiny, it is in this material body. Super soul is residing with us. Whatever body we may take, he is our constant friend, companion, the only friend we have actually, right? Every life is coming with us, right? I always give this example of a dog's body. I say, so many times I wonder also, the soul, once it receives a dog's body, supreme soul is also going in that dog's body, and it is sitting inside and giving results based on soul's past karmas. So, that is why you can see some dogs you will have different destiny for different dogs. Some dogs are born on the street. They are living a very, famished life. They don't get to eat food and they are dying in misery. Some, die accident deaths, somebody is hitting, and some are hitting the dogs and, sending it away. And some are living very comfortably as pets in great lovely houses, and even the dogs get to sleep next to the king and the queen. No, we cannot go and meet the king and the queen, but in the center you will see the dogs sleeping with the king and the queen on a beautiful mansions and great palaces. They are living a dainty life. They have got 5-6 servants taking care of them. What does it mean? The huge difference in destiny is due to the stockpile of karmas from their previous births, what they have done. Something bad they have done to become a dog, but they have done something good to get this kind of birth. The Supreme Soul accompanies the soul in every birth, various births that we will be taking in different species, whatever species we will get into. And it keeps granting results based on our karmas. Yes, please, Sonali Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So what
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport over there was that we should not think that we and Lord, we are same. We can never ever be same. We cannot be on the same level. We cannot be equal. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between our personalities. He is saying he's Purush Uttama. He's Uttama. He is surpassing all the living entities and everything. He is beyond all this, right? So even though we are fallible, but we can try to reach the divine world at least by following the supreme perfect person, Lord Krishna. If we follow him, at least we can follow his footsteps and reach that divine world. Even in Brahma Samhita, if you can read that, we will see that it's written like, somebody can read the translation. Yes, Raina Mataji.
Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different form. Its cause, which is milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govind, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction.
Hiram Dadi Vikara Vishesha Yogat Sanjayate Nahi Tatah Prathak Asti Hetu Yashambhutam Api Tatha Samupayati Karyat Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Lord Shiva, He is the epitome of devotion to Vishnu. And he is the topmost Vaishnava. Lord Shiva is Krishna's most greatest devotee. And devotees of Lord Krishna, they honor Lord Shiva to bits. They, for his qualities, for his exalted status, they worship him. They really respect him a lot in the hierarchy of beings. So in Brahma Samhita 5.45, if we read the purport, it's written, Govinda manifests himself as Guna Avatara in form of Lord Shambhu also. So that's what here it is explained. Here you can see that no one can surpass Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Neither we, the living entities, nor even the liberated souls. Lord is greatest of personalities. All the devatas, all they pay their obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can see that in the picture. Yes, please, Aishwarya Mataji.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything. And he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharta. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yo mamivam sammudah janati purushottama sasarvavida bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, there are three ways to realize God. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdete. So whoever knows this, we understand so far that there is only one supreme entity and it is manifesting in three ways. One is Brahman realization, then Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. It does not mean that we have three gods or three different entities or anything. God is one, but the forms are only his manifestations. Like, for example, water. Water exists in nature. It can exist as ice also. It can exist as water also. It can exist as vapor or steam also, right? They have different physical properties, but the form of the same substance. Similarly, God also, it exists in three forms. Brahman, the formless, four-handed Roop, Paramatma Narayana, two-handed form, Shyamasundar Roop, Bhagavan. So whoever are the followers of Jnana Yoga, they worship God as Brahman realization. Ashtanga yogis, they do it like Paramatma. God, they seek Paramatma as, they seek God as Paramatma, the Supreme Soul who is residing in all the living entities. And Lord Krishna says, those who know him as Supreme Personality of Godhead, they worship him as Bhagavan. They have complete knowledge of him. That's what Lord is telling in this shloka, right? About, remember I told you about the bus, the headlights that is coming, that's Brahman realization. And when the bus is coming little bit nearby and you see the form, it is Paramatma realization. And when it comes to the bus stand and you see the whole bus with the wheels, the driver, all of them sitting, it's the Bhagavan, the complete realization. That's what Lord Krishna is explaining over here. Iti guhyatamam shastram midamuktam maya naga etat buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. Yes, Renu Mataji.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Iti guhyatamam, guhyat, secret. Iti means these. So Lord Krishna is ending this chapter by saying this knowledge. This is guhyatamam shastram. If, he's saying, I have given you the gist, Arjuna. I have given you the gist of summary of all the hidden knowledge. Guhya means secret, hidden. I have given you the Shastra, whatever is hidden knowledge, in whatever is there in Vedic scriptures, I have told you. Okay, Arjuna? So from this, I have told you the nature of this world. I have described about that also to you. I have told you that the soul is different from the matter or the body. I have told you about that also. And I've also told you how to realize the absolute truth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have told you all these from the Shastras. And he's assuring Arjuna that, whoever will try to understand this knowledge and apply. Application is very important. Everybody tries to understand, but application is rare. Who adopts this knowledge, they will be completely enlightened, he says. So, their actions and their endeavors, it will be, if it is fruitful, it will make them move towards that spiritual path, which is like God realization path. And what is the process for it? Navavida Bhakti, the devotional service. That is the process of spiritual understanding. Whoever, wherever there is a devotional service, there is no question of any kind of pollution of our spirit soul, because we are completely devoted towards Lord, right? Navavida Bhakti. So the most guhyatamam Shastram, most confidential understanding of Veda is what? That Lord is Supreme Being. He is worshipable. Means we should always be worshipping the Lord. If we can remember this, then we can move towards God realization and make our life perfect. So with this, we come to the end of chapter 15. Knowing Krishna means knowing everything is the summary. So temporary, we have learned that material world is temporary, like a hotels. We have to go to the spiritual world, which is a permanent abode or our home. And one who understands this is the knower of Vedas. Then spirit, there is a difference between spiritual world or material world. We need to understand what are the characteristics of spiritual world. Lord Krishna takes us and he makes us peek into that spiritual world by saying, "Na tad bhasayate suryaha na shashanko na pavakaha." He says that abode of mine is not illumined by sun or moon or electricity. Okay, one who reaches that never goes back to the material world. Then there are characteristics of material world also. We have seen it. What is that? Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati ishvaraha. What does living entity do? Living entity in this material world is carrying. It is carrying from what? One body to another. We are moving on. And we have lost our connection with Krishna. Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are fragmental parts of Lord Krishna, but we have forgotten him. So that is what Lord Krishna says. Then Krishna. Krishna is the maintainer of all the worlds. He is the mind, body. He says, Gama Vishya Bhutani, I am taking care of all the planets, everything. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva, I am the fire of digestion. I am everything, he says, right? So we must worship God with complete surrender. So what is the essence? That there are fallible living entities who are very independent, want to enjoy, they remain here only in this material world. Infallible living entities, they want to be with Krishna, they don't want to leave the spiritual world, and Krishna is beyond fallible and infallible. So tomorrow we have chapter 16, Devasur Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, and it is about the divine and demoniac qualities that we are going to learn. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sundarbhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much.